Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the comfort zone of reading, which is where executive functions and reading fluency meet. The earliest phase of reading for pleasure is nearly always portrayed as a social activity, with children sitting alongside a caring adult who holds the book. The typical scenario shows a child smiling as they point to the illustrations, and this is very much the normative social construction of reading at home. The reality is often somewhat different. Fast-paced routines are necessary to keep modern family life on track. Social, cultural, technological, and economic factors have shaped the home lives of children and influenced the extent to which children read at home, with 21st century family life in the globalized economy often characterized by time constraints, productivity goals, limited support from the local community, and of course, chronic stress. About 60 years ago, a programme called Listen with Mother went out on BBC Radio 4 most afternoons. The comfort zone of reading was something that listeners dropped into without a second thought. The pace of life was less frenetic and there were fewer distractions to disrupt shared attention, stillness, and ease of engagement. The BBC presenter prefaced the beginning of each featured story with this catchphrase, "Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin." Even as children become fluent, independent readers, this comfort zone of reading becomes even more important because they must settle themselves before they can read. Although the act of reading may appear solitary, after all, the child sits alone with a book, it is nonetheless a social activity. The author's voice and the illustrator's squiggles hold the mind of the child in rapt attention and guide the reader sentence by sentence through the narrative. Unless held safely within their comfort zone of reading in 2025, many children read for speed and without that deeper level of engagement. Every school has children who read quickly but without meaning. And of course, there are also those others who slow down so much that comprehension slips away. The real question is, how do we help the children centre themselves within their comfort zone? This is really the point where decoding and comprehension naturally come together. So what does the comfort zone of reading look like? Well, when children are in the comfort zone of reading, and I'm using this somewhat clunky phrase just to convey an idea really for this blog post, three things stand out. First of all, the overall pace of reading feels comfortable and flexible. Secondly, children can use contextual cues to decode irregular or unfamiliar words. And thirdly, clarity in terms of the context helps the children to anticipate what's coming up next in their reading. These three factors may be why a positive feeling of forward direction characterizes fluent reading. Reading in this comfort zone feels relaxed, interesting, and meaningful, and this is where reading for pleasure begins. So, what's missing when pupils are reading outside this comfort zone? Well, children who are fast but not fluent don't have this degree of flexibility and responsiveness in their reading. They read words at pace, but they are not assimilating the meaning. Those who read too slowly struggle as well. Their working memory is overloaded with decoding, and comprehension fades before it can take hold. As a head teacher, the question is really how to direct scarce intervention time effectively. In both of these cases, the comfort zone of reading is absent, and the reasons for this are obviously unique to each individual child. There is one approach that works with executive functions directly, and that is rhythm. But first, let's dive into the core executive functions. What's the role of each of the core executive functions in rhythm-based fluency? Well, executive functions are the hidden architecture that underpins the comfort zone of reading. First of all, working memory allows the children to hold information in mind while they are decoding, so that meaning and the mechanics of reading can work together in an efficient and smooth way. Cognitive flexibility helps the children to adapt when the text throws up irregular words, ambiguous phrasing or garden path sentences, or even unexpected twists and turns in the plot. Lastly, inhibitory control stops readers from rushing too fast, decoding words based only on their shape, and creating capacity for grammatical contextual cues and decoded elements so that all of these can cohere. Without the core executive functions, children remain on one side or the other of the comfort zone of reading. They might be fast but superficial, or slow and effortful. So why does rhythm support the comfort zone of reading? Well, rhythm helps to organise language at a very deep level. Even our muscular reflexes are rhythmically programmed. An infant, for example, is born with a stepping reflex and also a sucking reflex. And these are examples of the primacy of rhythm as an organisational factor that precedes language. In language processing and in learning to read, rhythm focuses attention to the onset of the little sounds. It also regulates the efficient use of working memory. And rhythm provides elasticity and suppleness, just enough to support the flexibility in timing that is needed for fluent reading. When rhythm enters the picture, faster-paced readers often learn to slow down just enough to connect with meaning. Slower readers, on the other hand, develop momentum. And rhythm has a centering effect. If you like, it's the sweet spot where decoding and comprehension align. For school leaders, the real question is how to help pupils to find their comfort zone of reading when resources are stretched thin. Every September, reading assessments highlight pupils who remain outside their comfort zone of reading. Whether they read fast or slow, they are missing that relaxed flow where fluency and meaning couple together naturally. Yes, you see, the comfort zone of reading is where fluency feels natural and comprehension becomes spontaneous. For some schools, reaching this comfort zone feels really elusive, especially when traditional interventions have been delivered with only marginal gains. But rhythm offers a different pathway. You see, it's precise and it's efficient and it's rooted in executive functions. Above all, rhythm is very, very natural. We've all heard of brain waves. These are actually rhythmic waves. So the brain speaks in the language of rhythm anyway. So this is not another layer of workload, but it's simply a way of aligning the skills that make comprehension possible. This is why I've created Rhythm for Reading. It's a structure program that's designed to strengthen executive functions and unlock fluency in just 10 minutes a week. Schools that use this approach have seen measurable change within only 3 weeks and also sustained transformation across the length of a whole term. So if you're ready to explore how this can work for your students, you can find all of the details at the end of this post. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I look forward to seeing you next time.